Welcome to CelinaRadio.com, recorded right here in Celina, Texas, a quiet little dusty, sleepy town that has absolutely nothing going on. Guys, I am so totally kidding about that. Of course, this is Celina, Texas, and we have everything going on here. Now, I'm Ron Lyons. This is CelinaRadio.com, and we intend to have a good time. So put on your seatbelt, and let's get started. Celina, Texas, the best city in the United States. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is working well in life for you. And I'll tell you one thing, at least for a little while, maybe you can escape some of the stress and pressure and hop into the middle of this podcast where we're going to talk to Dan Williams, one of the most enthusiastic and motivated people that I know. This is a man whose energy will just absolutely knock you over. And he was kind enough to sit down with us and discuss a little bit about the race that he's in for school board in Celina, but more importantly, to talk a little bit about the man behind the candidate. As you know, we're doing a whole series on everyone who's willing to sit down with us that's running for either school board or city council in Celina, and we're trying to get to know the person a little better. You see all the campaign material and all that stuff, and of course, it's critical information, but don't you want to know a little bit more about the actual person? What they like, what they don't like, what their life is like? I do, and that's why CelinaRadio.com is committed to helping you gain a little bit of that insight. So let's get started. Dan Williams, running for school board in Celina, Texas. I am here right now with Dan Williams, and Dan is actually running for school board in the city of Celina, and he's joining me out of the goodness of his heart. He's enduring an awful lot of scheduling conflicts and things like that. So, Dan, how are you?
Busy. But you know what? We're having fun. We're looking forward to the upcoming early voting to start here on Monday, and we are fired up and excited about representing this Celina community with every vote that we get, and we're gonna. I feel very humbled by that opportunity to be able to represent our city.
So tell me this: when a person gets into any sort of race for any sort of office, it brings with it an awful lot of stress. And it's not easy on anybody. It's not easy on your family. It's not easy on anything, but there's got to be a cause. There's a reason. There's something that makes people rise up to the occasion. And I'm just curious, in this case, what is it that makes you want to get into this race? Like, why now? Why Celina? What's the backstory? That's
a great question. So I got in it just about a year and a half ago. When we were still under COVID lockdown, I was at the school board, and there was a critical vote that came up. And that vote was whether to keep the kids masked longer or not. And, you know, honestly, half the board went one way and half the board went the other way. But the final and last vote, my opponent cast, and that was the deciding vote. And I would honestly have done it differently. And I saw something there that day that I knew that we had to change. And that change was not going to be changing for just any sake. It was changed for the kids' sake. And with that being said, he was the person who cast a vote that kept our kids masked longer. Well, you know, here's the deal. We as parents, we should be the deciding factor for what is right and what is wrong for our kids' health, individual rights. And I knew that day that we had to have somebody that had kids in the school system, because if I do not win this election, we will not have one school board member that has a kid in the school system. And that can't happen. It's critically important that I win this. That's why I need each and every one of your votes out there to get this done, because we have to have a parent on that school board. And I am a parent. I'm kind of a special parent. I've got secondary education, social studies degree from the Oklahoma State University back in 1990. I've been an entrepreneur in my life. I served my country as a pilot in the United States Air Force Reserves. Now I want to serve my community, and I want to serve you guys. And I just, like I said earlier, it's totally humbling, this whole election process. It's something I'm having to learn, but I'm proud to put my family out there and say, you know what, if it's going to be, then it's going to be up to me, and I hope to serve this community well.
Okay, I appreciate that, and in much respect to you, I've run for office before, and I understand what it's like, and it's stressful and it's difficult. So it's a very, very worthwhile cause, though, and it sounds like you've got very specific reasons. But the intent of today is to talk a little bit more about the name Dan Williams, not the candidate, but Dan Williams, the human, the person. I think it's important that everybody knows a little bit more about who you are. So give me an idea. First of all, how long have you been in the Celina area?
Yeah, we've been here for just over 16 years now.
Okay, that makes you a long-time resident around here. So that's good. Tell me this. What do you love most about Celina? What's amazing to you about Celina?
You know what I love is I love when I go down on the square and I can walk into almost any restaurant or establishment, and I know somebody there every day. And another thing I love is that everybody in this town wears orange and white. My family, I kid you not, they make fun of me. They say, Dan, do you not have anything that's not orange and white? My bumper sticker on my car says Bobcats. I wanted to always be part of a city that is completely sold out to just the city, of having fun and celebrating our kids. And that's why we moved here 16 years ago, because, it's been 15 years since we've won a state championship. But when I moved here, we were winning state championships left and right. And I want to get it back to working in excellence. I want to get back those state championships, and I want to start celebrating our kids more. And I don't want to change the values or the core principles of this great system we have. But what I do want to do is I want to make a few small changes that are going to make this system better and work in excellence.
I like that. So if somebody wanted to go out there and find out more about your platform, your perspectives, and things like that, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, so they'd go to Facebook, and you'll find me under Dan Williams 4, like the number 4, Celina.
Okay, and I think that you're very easily available for people. You've certainly been available for me. I know we've had a lot of discussions, and I think that you would probably welcome anyone to reach out to you at any time, and you're passionate about this stuff.
100%. And I'd like, I challenge anybody, call me. Here's my telephone number. I want to know the issues. I am here for you. I want to be your elected official. I want to win this race and serve this community. This is my telephone number, 972-814-3668. And I will get back to you, I promise you. Now, as a pilot for major airlines, there may be times when I'm up in the air, and sometimes I might be on the other side of the country, or sometimes the other side of the world. But when I land, and I'm not so jet lagged that I can put two thoughts together, I will call you back.
And I know that's true, because I think that just in the last, a couple of weeks, I know you've gone to London, but you've been very, very good. I actually had to get on my phone and look up a world clock to see what time it was, where you were, so that I wasn't, reaching out to you in the middle of the night. But yeah, absolutely very, very good about communication. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little fun. I've got a list of questions, and you do not know what those questions are. So your answers are going to be unprepared, unrehearsed, and literally off the cuff. So that's going to help us know who Dan Williams is, and I don't mean the name on the sign. Okay, so let's start with this. So we know Celina is amazing. It's a great place to live, right? But if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would you live?
Alaska.
Okay, tell me why. Why Alaska?
Well, I'm a big outdoor hunter, fisherman. I love Alaska and Montana. But anyway, I love being outdoors. I love to hunt. I love to fish. And I just watch God's natural beauty just come into, wake up with the morning of the sunrise, hearing the birds come to life, and just watching God warm the earth and just feel that on your skin, and just to look out over the plains or the mountains, wherever that you are, there's nothing like it. I love both those two states.
Well, you know what? I think everything you're saying, that makes perfect sense. It makes me want to go there. I've never thought about traveling to Alaska, but I tell you what, I would do it just for that experience. I'm curious if you could. Do you drink coffee? Do you like coffee?
I do.
Okay, all right. If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would you like to sit down with and have a discussion over coffee?
2 names. Okay, one would be our founding forefather, George Washington, 100%. The other one would be Ronald Reagan. He's one of my biggest fans in life, and I just think he's one of the greatest presidents of all time.
I think that'd be an amazing conversation. My very first entry into understanding politics was Ronald Reagan, and just the whole concept, everything that was going on in the world, I was finally understanding how this stuff works, and absolutely, I would actually like to sit in on that discussion with you and have a cup of coffee. So tell me this, would you consider yourself, and I already know the answer. I know the answer, and I'll explain why in just a second, but would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
100% extrovert.
1,000%. I'm sitting in the middle of Papagayo's restaurant one night, and the whole place is crowded, and above the entire crowd, I hear Ron Lyons, and I look up, and who is it? It's Dan Williams walking in. This is the kind of guy that will see you, pick you out of a crowd, and make a point to come over and say hello and to talk with you. And I just think that's amazing. You knocked me over with that very gregarious spirit that you have, and I've been a fan ever since.
Well, thank you so much. And I'll tell you something about me, about that. I want to never go into that restaurant without ever knowing somebody. So the other night it happened to us, and for the first time I was like, what do I do? Well, you know what? I said, tonight's not going to be the night. So after I sat down and ordered my meal, and the other people, they ordered their meal, I just nicely, politely went over and introduced myself. And I said, I'm not going to come in here tonight and let this be the first night that I did not know somebody in Papagayos. And the funniest of all funny things is after we started talking, we started realizing that we knew people who knew each other. And all of a sudden we were best friends. And you know what? I think we just gained their vote again.
I think that's awesome. I think that serves you well, having that kind of spirit. And I think it would serve well in a position like on school board, or maybe one day city council, who knows. But tell me this, if you could write a book, and I don't know if you write or love to read or not, but if you could write a book, what would you write a book about?
Life vectors. And you probably go, what are life vectors?
Yeah, you see the look on my face right now. I'm
That's
already
exactly
like, okay,
right.
What does that mean?
This is something I talk to my kids about every single day, is there are consequences behind every choice. In your life vector, and as a pilot, a plane that's on a vector, it's heading on a certain course. It is going in that certain direction, and it will continue to go in that direction until you change that direction. Well, life vectors, when I talk to my boys, are behind every choice, there's a consequence. And every day, your life vector is either going up or it's going down. And with that being said, we all have to be teaching our kids the importance of making the right decision, having the right moral codes, having the right family background, having the talks that we have to have. Our society is so quick to turn on the TV and let this, excuse my French here, but this crap being shoved down their throat. Well, we need our real parents who are going to stand up and be real role models. So with that being said, I would write a book on life vectors.
Life vectors, I like it, and I promise you, I would read it, but I would ask you to autograph it for me. So if you'd be so kind as to do that, I honestly think your spirit is so kind, you'd probably offer to come over and read it to me. So I think that's amazing. So tell me something. What would you consider your biggest pet peeve?
Putting something out of place. As a pilot, I have my kit bag, and I have my rollerboard that goes with me everywhere, right? Every single thing I have in that kit bag, I know exactly where I place it every single time. So when I get to the plane, it is exactly where I have it, and I know it's there. And when something is in my life gets placed out of the place I know I put it, it will send me through the roof. I'm horrible about that. It's just a pilot thing, and my poor wife, my poor family, love them to death, and I pray for them because they have to deal with me when I put something out of place. I just that's my Achilles heel.
So I think just having known other pilots in the past, that can be a pretty stressful job, obviously, and you have an awful lot of responsibility in that. Do you see parallels at all between this position that you're running for and what you do professionally?
Absolutely, 100%. First and foremost, I pray that I never have a bad day in the air, right? So the days that we always hope to have a great flight, and that's what we want. We want a nice, boring flight. But the aspect of leadership and being able to maintain your situational awareness and be able to keep your wits when things are kind of down and dirty, and be able to lead people and teach people what they need to be doing when they need to be doing it. That is critical to any type of leadership position you've ever been in. I learned back in 2004 when I got furloughed from American Airlines that the lessons I had learned during my aviation career were directly all the skills and the assets that I needed to do to start my own businesses. So I started a shutter and blind company, and it became I had a great shutter and blind company. We won all kinds of awards and everything, but it was all about doing the right thing at the right time for the right reasons, and keeping people first in your minds, and then just putting leadership behind it. And with that formula, you can go do anything. I don't care what it is. That is a winning formula that you can put in any job situation or any leadership position and be successful.
I love it. That's fantastic. And just to test that wit and that skill, I'm going to flip on you real quick.
Oh no!
Favorite food?
Mexican.
So Mexican food, all right, and least favorite food?
Tomato aspic.
Okay, you're going to tell me what that is.
I don't even know what it is. I had it once and I about threw up, and I never want to have it again in my entire life. That's the only. Have you seen me? I like food. That is my weakness. Okay. And with that being said, tomato aspic is the only thing I have in survival training. I have eaten worms. I've eaten, caught fish and ate them basically live. I mean, we just chopped the heads off and ate them. I can eat anything, grasshoppers, you name it. I can eat it. But tomato aspic, no way.
Where do you see the city of Celina as a whole? You know how quickly we're growing. Where do you see it in 5 years?
Well, here it stresses me out a little bit. Not too bad. I think our city council and our current school board, I think they've done a good job. But I will tell you, the growth is coming, and it's coming fast. And I go to those school board meetings, and I see how fast it's coming, and I'm concerned that we're not moving fast enough. And that is a real concern for me.
Oh, that's a very interesting take on that. That's super interesting, something I wouldn't have expected. So what do you think? You were talking about trajectories basically a while ago. Do you feel like right now, are we on a safe trajectory, even if we're not on exact course maybe? Part of the reason maybe why you're running. But are we on a safe trajectory, or do you think we're is our compass completely off?
No, I think we are on a safe trajectory, or I'm going to call it a life vector, excuse me. But another thing I am concerned about is teacher retention. Specifically with the school board, with the rapid growth that we have, we need to keep every one of our quality teachers out there. And I am very concerned right now that our teachers, last year was one of the biggest exodus of our teachers that we've ever had. And I'm afraid that this year it may be again. And I am very concerned about that. When you throw in the rapid growth issues, it's critically important. Our teachers need to be heard, and they need to be able to feel like they can discuss their feelings and to be backed up, to be honest. There's some discipline issues that we need to back our teachers up on. And I'm here. That's one of the things too, that I'm critically, I as a former teacher myself and coach, as well as my parents were both teachers, I am very passionate about taking care of those teachers. Okay. I am for the teachers. They need raises, and we need to keep quality teachers, and we need to make this Celina school system better, not just in sports. I want you to hear this. This is so important to me. We need excellence in our arts, in our education system, as well as our sports. It's not only sports. I am a board member of the Celina Quarterback Club. I love football. I've got 2 boys who play football, but I am here to tell you, we've got to make sure that our educational system is 100% moving in the vector of excellence with our arts, with our sports, okay? It can't be the opposite way. It needs education first. That's the primary purpose. I came here because of the football, but I knew that we also had really good schools. But I believe that we have to work to become the very best schools. If we say that we're good, well, that's not good enough for me. We need to be the very best. We need to be the beacon on the hill that every school system around here wants to be like, and whether it's in the education, arts, and in the athletics.
Okay, I like it. There's a lot of passion, folks. If you can't hear the passion in this man's voice, then you're simply not listening. He is very, very, very passionate about it. So he's going to hate me, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Oh, no.
What's your favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's great. I love that. Interested in Top Gun 2?
Very much. Can't wait. It's coming out later this summer. I think it's in May, actually, matter of fact.
Okay, you've probably seen all the trailers, and
everyone.
You're probably just as excited as I am, because that meant something back in the day. That was a fantastic movie, right?
It was my high school. This to tell you how old I am. 1986 when that movie came out, and we were out there, playing sand volleyball in the backyards of then jumping in the pool and thinking we were Tom Cruise in the days. And I've listened to that music as I was going out to my when I first day I left to go to the Air Force to go off to pilot training. My brother's girlfriend worked for she was a DJ at our local radio station, and she played for that song from Top Gun theme as I exited out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, heading out to Vance Air Force Base.
That's awesome. And probably on that note, we're going to wrap this up. We could talk for hours. And what I'd like to do is invite you to come back. And I'm going to say win, lose, or draw. Whatever happens in this race. And obviously, we wish you the very, very best of luck. And Godspeed getting to the finish line of this thing. If it goes good, if it goes bad or indifferent, would you come back on the show?
I would love to.
I'd like for you to come back, and I'd like to talk a lot more about some of the things that we just barely talked about today. We could probably fill up hours, and we might even talk a little bit about Mexican food.
Okay. Matter of fact, we ought to have it at Papa Go's. Maybe we'll have it at the restaurant, and we'll eat Mexican food while we talk.
There you go. Let's remind everybody again how to reach out to you real quick.
Yeah. So if you want to call me and you have any question, I want you to understand this. Any question, my telephone number is 972-814-3668. The other way you can reach out to me, you can, I'm on Facebook. So it's there. You got to go to Dan Williams 4, like the number 4, Celina.
All right, guys, that is Dan Williams, and let me tell you, his spirit actually just fills up the room. He's an amazing person, somebody that I now call friend, and I would encourage you to reach out to him. If you've got questions, this man's not afraid of anything. He's going to answer your questions, and he's going to tell you like it is. So, Dan, thank you so much, and I look forward to another meeting with you, another discussion, and like we said, maybe some Mexican food one day, okay?
Thank you, and God bless you, Ron.
All right, guys, that is Dan Williams, candidate for Celina School Board, and he is 1,000% the real deal. Huge, huge, huge personality, gigantic heart, and just a very motivated, very, very, very passionate individual. So I tell you what, either way, whether he wins or whether he doesn't, I would definitely make a point to try and find Dan Williams, shake his hand, and get to know him. He is that kind of person, and he's everything that you want in Celina, Texas. But that, guys, is going to wrap up the show for today. Quite the series of interviews we've done. We still have a few more to go. Some have been recorded already. Others we're still trying to work out schedules and things like that. And there may be somebody that just decides that they don't want to be on the show at all, and that's absolutely okay. Still have my utmost respect. But before we wrap it up for today, let me ask you for one favor, and that is that you would please share this show with your friends. Please put it on your social media. Tell people about it. Help us get this thing lifted off the ground. CelinaRadio.com. All right, guys, I look forward to seeing you on the next show. But until then, God bless.